Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, I'm recording this in mid-June. We are nearing the end of the spring market, so I thought it might be quite useful to give you a bit of a synopsis of what's been going on because the markets are still very seasonal. They run quite long. The spring market is quite long. It starts from about the third week of January in any earnest. But will start to close down probably in about 4 weeks' time. We'll then have a bit of a reprieve, and then we have that short, sharp autumn market. So what's been going on? Well, mortgages. The banks have been allowed to reduce their stress testing criteria, and that's because wage growth has been really good in this country. It's generally kept in track with inflation and then some. And so when you can lock on to quite an attractive 5-year deal, and it's likely that first time buyer is going to have good wage growth, do you really need to stress test the lend? Arguably not. And that's what has been massively relaxed by the Financial Conduct Authority, who brought in that stress testing in 2014, which basically tested that if you were borrowing at a cheap rate now, but rates could go up, that you would be able to afford it, therefore avoiding the financial crisis of 2008. So a lot of the banks have been able to relax that, and as a result, high loan to value ratio lends are at an all-time high. 6.7% of all mortgages now are what's called high mortgage loan to value. That basically means that if your house is worth, say, 100,000 that you're buying, if only in this part of the world, you might be borrowing, say, 95,000, maybe even £100,000 of that purchase price, because obviously building up your deposit is one of the things that stops many first-time buyers getting on the market. So high value loan to value mortgages, and generally those cheaper mortgage rates being a really good stimulus across the property market. I'm going to have to read all these figures because there's quite a few that I sort of took a note of. So listings still up actually. So they were massively up last month. This month that has cooled a little bit, but still 5% up against 2024 and 9% up against the averages of 2017, 18 and 19 for the month of May. So they've looked at May in isolation against those previous times. So certainly listings still high, but price reductions at a phenomenal rate. 1 in 7.5 properties at the moment will have a price reduction. It sits at 13.4% of all property that goes to market will have a price reduction. Many will have multiple price reductions. And the 5-year average of price reduction sits at about 10%. So you can see there those price reductions are much higher than normal. And that's really a symptom of a combination of factors, really. Sellers remaining not realistic about what they can achieve for their property, and agents not having a difficult conversation on values of property and still doing a degree of overvaluing. It's always a tough conversation when you are pitching for a business, unless you're with a client who's sold with you several times and has learned to trust you. You're pitching against someone else who might be saying, well, we think your house is worth this. So yeah, it's a tricky one. But as I say to anybody, when you're an independent, or indeed any agent really, but a property is a liability on my books till it sells. So I want to get that property sold. So always happy to try and get the best price, but generally overvaluing is a bit of a bane really for many agents. But interestingly, May was the busiest May since 2021 for sales agreed. So that's great. And indeed, it's been the busiest month for sales agreed since March 2022. March 2022 was the last high of the market in terms of sales agreed. And great news that May this year was a really strong month. We agreed lots and lots of offers in May. It was fabulous. So that's about 6% ahead of the same time last year in terms of agreeing sales. But there are some real hot spots on where sales agreed are massively up. So Wales, about 15% up against their May of last year. Haywood and Greater Manchester up 88% on what they agreed. Those areas really symptomatic of where you get really good affordability and people are very keen to get on the housing market. So yeah, a relatively healthy market in all. Bit of overvaluing, bit of price reductions, but definitely there are committed buyers out there, and with mortgages coming down in rates, stress testing easing, that will improve that flow of first-time buyers to the bottom of the market, which helps everything flow through. I reckon about 40% of my book, an additional 40% of my sale of my available properties would be under offer if I could unlock a non-proceedable buyer beneath. What I mean by that is I've got someone who wants that house or flat, but they need to sell their own property and get proceedable. So yeah, if that whole housing market chain can start to move, it'll be great. In the world of rentals, just very quickly, asking prices have cooled a bit in terms of their growth. Renters' rights bill is coming. It's currently being reported on in the House of Lords, but it is going to be coming. An interesting research that over half of landlords have done zero preparation for renters' rights bills, and my goodness, do you need to get prepping for it. We are doing masses of work on it, on getting our book ready. There's a lot of changes. I think the kind of the landlords that manage their own property portfolios, unless they do it as a serial profession, will really reduce because it's becoming highly regulated. You can get tripped up quite easily. So worrying stat there that, yeah, not many people doing anything about it. So yeah, sales and rentals all looking quite good. If you are interested in buying a really great family property and you've got about a budget of 1.2 million, how about one of these two lovely properties that I've just launched that might tempt you? So the first one, a really great 5-bed in St Lawrence Avenue in Bidborough. So Bidborough, very popular for its local schooling and easy access to the A21 and Tunbridge Station. And this house is lovely. You can move in, relax and enjoy it from day one. It's got a lovely, good plot, nice garden, really well presented. I love the fact that the 5th bedroom is set slightly away from the others in a sort of more of a annex situation. So for guests or nannies, etc., or indeed relatives who don't want to tackle the stairs, that will work really, really well. So that's a great one. And then this one here at the top of Major Yorks Road, so closer to the town of Tunbridge Wells, fabulous position, just to the west of the Common, so right near the Spa Hotel, so you can be walking distance to the Pantiles, the High Street, the mainline station. It's all on your doorstep. And really beautifully presented accommodation. I love the open plan kitchen diner in this one. It's got a really nice low maintenance but very private garden with a double garage, and again some off-road parking, and that one at a guide of 1.195. Both great family homes that I think will be snapped up. I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.